Hi, this is Homay from Spitfire Audio, and I'm doing a select wanting to highlight our Vintage Keys library, which we've done in collaboration with North 7 Studios. We went to record a electric piano, feels and plays really nicely. Then we have a whirly sound here. A clavinet. And also electric bass piano. This has been programmed to be within our EDNA engine, and to briefly go over the functions, we have some things called wobble. So if I turn that up, it can play with the volume. Then we have the same thing with pitch. Can do some really funky stuff with that. Then one more with the filter. You also have a low pass and high pass filter. You can change the envelope if you want to. And there's an oscillate mixer. So you may have noticed there's one half of the GUI mirrors the other half, which means you can load up two different sounds and then have a mix of the two with this function over here. Then you have a gate sequencer and also some additional effects that you can apply to the sound. But before I go further into it, let's just listen around this composition once. I've written this mostly with the N7 library, starting with the clavinet lo-fi patch. I played in broken down chord and used the gate sequencer for this one, and I made sure I've got the right amount of steps in here, which you can add or take away down here, and then you can also double or half time it over here. I then accompanied it with our British Drama Toolkit library, which is really beautiful, and quite often when I want to sketch out something, I load up an ensemble patch which stretches across the keyboard for me to play something in to maybe be replaced later on. But with the British Drama Toolkit, I won't necessarily do that because it usually feels that it already fits within the piece. It is also velocity sensitive, which means that technically you could play softer chords and then add a melody on top of that. This is very soft, but we also have some other patches where if you press the keys harder, it comes out with a more soloistic tone. It allowed me to play really intuitively along the clavinet sound that I have over here. The only other library that I've used is the London Contemporary Orchestra Textures, which we've recorded at a hanger, which means that the reverb tail is really hefty, creating this beautifully unique textures that come out through also this combination of instruments that have been chosen. You've got different mic positions here. I've used a closed mic for this one, but if you want to really have that big space, you can turn the mix up here. To get this incredible tail. Another patch that I've used is called Glass Winds. It fills out that space and binds the sounds nicely. Before I move on, I really want to show you the Evo grid that's in that library as well though. Within this grid, you have lots of different packs, each of which can represent a different what we call evolution, which means all the longs that we've recorded are constantly moving, always keeping it interesting. So to give you an example, we have the ethereal part here. Mercurial. And then the last group. So that gives you endless options of sounds. Going back to our vintage keys, I'm using a bass here as well, a patch that is called Heart Hanger. This one has a raspier sound to it, so I layered it with a subbier sound. And I think that made a really nice combination. Now you can hear the melody in the bass and have this extra push and power in the sub. There's another electric piano sound. This one's a lot softer in contrast to the clavinet sound that I have over here. So I used the electric piano to round it up a little bit more. You can't really hear it at the beginning, but it's kind of giving you an introduction to it and then coming out a little bit more later on. To go over the piece quickly structurally, I have a very short intro with very soft sounds coming in. Then I'm introducing the riff over here, going round it a couple of times, and then coming in with the bass over here. Let's listen to the first half. The next sound that you've heard fluttering is also from the electric piano, which I've reversed. I played in a slow run and reversed it. I find that sounds that are very short and have a reverb tail to it, make really nice reversed sounds. And on top of that, I added an echo. I put it onto 16th note and put up the feedback a bit more, listening out for when I want the delay to fade out. So here I feel kind of nicely disappears. On another track, I did a very similar thing, but I added a different echo delay on here, having this one in quarter notes and taking the feedback down to counteract the other one a little bit. The other patch that's coming in more prominently this time is the soft piano. Again, I've used a gate sequencer here for it to kind of gently rocking along, creating this lazy feel for the second half. Really enjoying that sound. And similarly to the first half, I'm going around these two chords a couple of times before coming in with the BDT accompaniment and bringing back in the bass. If we're looking at this section over here, I've got all these embellishments that are there to complement each other. So making sure I've got enough space in between them so they don't clash. And equally over here, I've got this short arpeggiated sound that's sort of tinkling away in the background. So I wanted to make sure that each of these sounds had their own space. In the last bit, I'm coming out briefly with the BDT library just to give it a bit of a break, also creating more dynamics throughout the piece, before coming in with a short series of chords to indicate the ending. In terms of effects, EQ and so on, I've only used an EQ on the subby bass and just turned down some of the really low frequencies, especially for the last note coming in over here. So it's just not going through the roof. Otherwise, I put a limiter on here. Again, just making sure nothing's really going over. I set this one to minus 0.3 dB, making sure it's not going beyond that. And that was it. Let's listen to the whole thing again. That's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you soon.